Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at this right here. This is the KZ Duonic. This is their latest in-ear monitor, and this is the successor to the Caster line. And this one is a little bit more unique because it has the what they're calling a triple magnetic planar driver, as well as an 8mm super linear dynamic driver. So we'll get into the specs. Here's the unit itself. We'll show that in just a second. So it is a 0.78 2-pin connector, not a 7.5. 10 to 20 kilohertz. Impedance is 24 ohms, but if you have the switch model, which I do, it is 22 to 28 ohms. Sensitivity is 103 decibels. And this is the packaging. What I have right here is the bass enhanced version, and this has switches. Well, this version came with the nice microphone. I like the microphone that they have. It is very clear. We did a test on the Pisces, I think, had it, or something like that. They come out with so many models, it's just hard to keep track. So this is like a pretty red mesh right in there. Kind of Vader-ish design going on there. Got that typical shell with the, I don't know if this is actually metal. It doesn't feel too cold to the touch. Probably is, probably some kind of cast metal. And then you have the acrylic. What is different is, besides the using the new cable that they have, is these squishy wider bore star tips. I don't really like those. See the shorter nozzle. It does have mesh. It's like a nylon mesh right there. And overall, the build quality is what I've come to expect, especially in this budget range. Very squishy, kind of just really no firmness whatsoever to these tips. I do not like these tips. There you see your switches. We have 4-way switches on each side. 4 over here and 4 on the other unit. So you can increase, lower bass and treble to your liking. I'm going to talk about the default settings when I talk about the sound. If I can get this horrible tip on there, forget it. I'm not even going to bother. So, alright. The unit is as expected. Comfort-wise, build-wise, cable-wise. Although the new microphone is much better than the one they had in the past. Tips are garbage. Don't like them. Going to change the tips anyway. That's not really a big deal because that's probably the first thing we do anyway, right? We change the tips. A lot of times we change the cable, especially when it comes to KZ with these kind of springy kind of cables. Sound-wise, what you're talking about is something very, very good. It is a nice kind of wide, deep bass response. It is both rich and has some decent control and decent detail overall. The mid-range is very clear. The bass doesn't seem to overpower very much. You might get some on some of the settings. You might get some warmth in the lower end. For the most part, I think that the mid-range is very good with its separation and clarity and more towards kind of almost a neutralish balanced kind of mid-range. Vocals sound really good, male and female, which was surprising. It is surprising. They keep, I know they put out a lot of different in-ears like within the year. But they keep trying to change them a little, trying to refine them. Some are made for gaming, some aren't. This one could actually be used for gaming, no problem. And we'll get into that, why. The very nice, crisp highs at the top. They're detailed. Depending on your equipment, they could be a little tinny. For the most part, though, I thought that they sounded decent. They really did sound decent. And they weren't very, very harsh, although they do have an energetic kind of response. And I suppose that gets you know, more so depending on what you do with the switches, depending on what you do with the tip, if you change the cable out or something. Just looking at my notes here. So what we're talking about is a nice, rich, deep bass that's not overpowering, clear mid-range, very good treble response, crispy and sparkly, without really being too harsh. Not the most naturalist highs, but it's still a really good detailed highs. Comfortable fit, tried and true kind of shape and build, decent isolation there, depending on the tips. The stock tips isolation sucks. I don't like the stock tips. Just getting that point out there. Have to be honest about these things. So it comes with the silicone tips. It comes with the cable with or without the microphone. You can get the regular version, the switch version with the bass enhanced. I like the bass on these. They're very fun. It is a more of a kind of bright V-shaped with very good bass, very good treble, and neutral, clear mid-range. It's fun and enjoyable at the same time. I think that it's not really bass head, but it could be, depending on the switch levels that you do. I'm not going to get into the switch levels because, you know, I personally don't like using switches or EQ for that matter. I don't mind switching tips or cables. I don't mind switching units. I mean, because some units, if the unit has bass boost, I'm going to use bass boost if it needs it, or X bass, something like that. I personally don't like when I'm using the DAP. I like it on flat. I don't like to use any other settings, rock pop, whatever, custom. I feel that if you need to do that to an in-ear monitor, then it's not the right in-ear monitor for you. If you have to fix something on some type of audio product, it's not for you. It's not within your range. Now, this is fun, and there's been a lot of KZs that are fun sounding. It seems to be their target level, although they have made some really like neutralish kind of ones in the past. It's been very few indeed. I like that there's a 4-level switch for customizing on there, even though I personally don't like the switches. I know that can make a big difference for other people. There's nothing wrong with using the switches yourself if you want to tune it to the way you want it. There's nothing wrong with if you want to use EQ. That's up to you. It's just my preference. The microphone has a dual 6 millimeter professional grade condenser microphones. We covered that before. It's the same microphone, same cable. Sounds really, really good. Clear. You can use it really good for calls and even professional calls and meetings and stuff. It works really, really good. Soundstage on this is actually wide. That's why I said you could use it for gaming. It's a nice wide soundstage. It is very, very accurate. Imaging is exceptional for something in this price range. Overall, I think that whatever this 3 planar magnetic thing is, and the 8 millimeter dynamic, it works good. There's a good, exchange in between the two different drivers. They work good. They mesh very, very well. It gives a nice sound, solid build for the cost, typical, comfort and everything. Like I said, the only caveat is those tips. I do not like those tips. I like that they made wide bore tips, but I don't like how thin they are. I think that if you're looking for something that has good bass, clear vocals, sparkling treble, wide soundstage, excellent imaging, decent technicalities, I think that the Duonic would be something for you. Thank you again for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.